Sorry. Wait for it just a second. Here we go. Wait for it. Okay. Wanted to get that out on my Twitter feed as soon as I can. Thank you all very much for this opportunity. Naša voditeljka je rekla da će uglavnom biti na naškom, ali bit će izuzeci i u stvari Robert meni je rekao da ja bih trebao da govorim na engleskom. Možda i on je htio meni olakšati posao, ali to znači da možda će vama biti malo teže, ali I'm sorry for that. Good morning to all of you, and thank you for this opportunity to share my own digital story in real life, IRL, as they say, and to reflect a bit on communication trends here in Serbia. But before I do, let me take you on a little bit of a trip down memory lane, back to when I started my career as a diplomat nearly 4 decades ago. Then we did our work mostly in meetings behind closed doors, after which we would sometimes issue a bland statement to the press, but it was generally a gentleman's world, governed by old rules of civility and decorum. In some sense, WikiLeaks changed all that with a massive breach of private diplomatic communications. But technology has also changed considerably. When I started out, we didn't have computers. The IBM Selectric typewriter was the top-of-the-line technology. A few years later, the State Department finally moved into the computer age and adopted a worldwide system of computers for our embassies produced by Wang Technologies. Anybody remember the Wang computer? Well, it was a wrong choice by the State Department, but it was the beginning for us. And it was only for use in the office. American diplomats were first granted the privilege of mobile communications via handheld devices only less than 2 decades ago. But here I am now, near the end of my nearly 40 years as a diplomat, near the end of my 3.5 years here in Serbia, and I'm happy to say that, like the rest of the world, we have flung open the dusty old curtains of diplomacy and share our work directly with the public. In fact, almost exactly 2 years ago, I made my first steps into the realm of the Twitter world, my first Twitter handle, and my first tweet. Nothing very exciting, but there it was. After my first few steps into this realm, I thought it might be interesting today to kind of review my own experience as a digital diplomat here in Serbia. Because we diplomats are not marketing experts, we're not communications experts. Social media is a tool to reach out to the public, but I didn't want my account to be a government public relations tool that was share the same bland messages that we put out in our public press statements. Serbs respect authenticity and honesty, so that's what I've tried to do in my Twitter handle, with a mix of policy, but also everyday life. Because as ambassador, it's not my job to be loved or popular. Okay, it's nice when it's true, but my main duty is to represent the United States of America in Serbia and to make sure that our message is heard. Unfortunately, sharing our message here in Serbia is not always easy. Many in Serbia appear to believe that hating America is somehow good for business. Serbs are bombarded daily with the most outrageous lies and biased reporting about my country, about the West, about the European Union, that I believe does a disservice to the intelligence of the Serbian people. And as a result, I think it's fair to say that we face the constant challenge of ensuring that our message is being heard here, especially when we try to deliver a complicated or difficult message. Social media's main advantage is that it allows us to communicate directly with the people. This is especially important when we have a message that's not popular or runs counter to the prevailing views of ruling elites. And so I've tried to use my social media presence to deliver America's point of view on complicated foreign policy concerns, or at least as much as I could in 280 characters. So I've talked about issues such as history here in the Balkans. I've talked about my own government's policy on normalization of relations with Kosovo. I've talked about global affairs half a world away from Serbia. And I've tried to talk about current issues that continue to weigh on U.S.-Serbian relations. But the important word in social media is the word social. Twitter and Facebook are not just one-way streets, communication channels for us to send things out. They're also a two-way street. And I value very much the digital engagement because it can stimulate a conversation directly with the Serbian people. I've traveled all around this country and had face-to-face discussions with people. I think that I have a decent understanding of the issues, but social media always allows us to get a deeper sense of what's going on and also to ask questions, as we have done through our Facebook and various different polls that we put online. And even as we seek to highlight stories that are being ignored by the mainstream outlets, social media provides for me an important feedback loop. It gives me the opportunity to hear how others are perceiving our message. For example, Boyan's cogent response to my message about Russian occupation in Crimea. In fact, in the 2 years since I've had my Twitter account, I've been blessed to have followers who wanted to give me so much valuable advice. Let me share a few examples with you. For example, I've had many thoughtful policy discussions, like this one with Moral Pygmy. I've learned that Serbs are so extremely proud of their country, and they've given me many tips on where I should go. For those few of you in the audience who don't speak Serbian, I was a bit embarrassed to put a full translation of what this says, so ask one of your Serbian colleagues next to you what exactly Zoran was recommending that I do. Many others have offered me advice on my career path. As my mandate here in Serbia comes to an end, I think I'll choose the first option that Moriarty offered me rather than the second. And of course, these were all very professional and part of a healthy dialogue on policy. But I've also been touched by how many Serbs take an interest in my personal well-being. I've received many health suggestions, including what I should eat, or tips on improving my health, including some yoga positions that I have never heard of previously. And I have to say, I'm not sure I'm quite that flexible. I've tried to mix my work here in Serbia with a commitment to helping out in my local community in any way that I could, showing also the private side. I've used my social media accounts to promote efforts to paint local schools, to clean up trash on the Danube. And every year on September 11th, our embassy cooperates with the Red Cross in a blood drive, and I hope those of you in the audience will join us again this September 11th. These efforts have clearly inspired others and given them thoughts about how we could collect even more blood. And the great thing about all the advice that I've gotten is that it hasn't been limited to me alone. People have taken a very close interest in my family. I've even gotten a bit of fashion advice along the way. With this, let me be serious for just a second. I think it's no secret that the internet is full of trolls and bots and aggressive narratives, and I get that. And after 2 years of reading tweets in Serbia, my skin has grown thicker than saddle leather. I've grown accustomed to ignoring the bots. But as a representative of the United States, I'm also here to represent a value that Americans hold dear to their hearts: freedom of expression and thought. And I think that both my own and my embassy's accounts have been their own digital beacons for free expression and have modeled tolerance towards all who wanted to say something to us. We did this because we want to listen and to hear what you want to say. And not every comment has been like moral midgets or like Moriarty's, thank goodness. Governments are the servants of the people, not the other way around, and listening and engaging with citizens is a crucial part of developing policy. So we should welcome transparency. We should promote and protect minority rights, including those who don't share our beliefs. In fact, we have laws in the United States regarding the freedom of speech and of the press, which date back to 1791. And those very laws, those very principles still govern today the legislation over social media in my country. So to all the haters out there, let me just say one thing. Thank you. If you took the time to curse me, to tell me to go to hell, or just back to Arizona, that also means you took the time to read my messages. Maybe it didn't change your mind, but my job is to make sure that the Serbian public knows our position. And before I conclude, when I think of all the foregoing, it's an indication of a reality here in Serbia. This is a tough market for US policy. The memories of the 1990s are still raw. The public is bombarded by toxic narratives on a daily basis, and a troll army is financed to remain ever vigilant, poisoning cyberspace and turning it all too often into a cesspool. So let me close by touching on a different aspect of how we tried to take an important message directly to the Serbian people through our Vista Svet campaign. I felt throughout my time here that the story of Serbian-American relations was being told in an incomplete manner. Our relationship did not start in 1999, nor should Serbia be defined by the Milosevic era. This campaign was meant to remind Serbs that despite the complicated and often rocky relationship in recent years, there's a bigger picture. Serbia and the United States have a deep and proud history, both separately but also together. Serbians have not always been the villain and need not always play the victim. There is much to be proud of in Serbia and much that we have achieved together throughout history. I truly believe in the relationship and the importance of Serbia and Serbia's role in the world. And I hope in my time as ambassador that we've been able to make that message clear. And so with that, allow me to conclude with a short clip of highlights from some of the videos that appeared on television, via our YouTube channel, and in our digital media outreach efforts.
Kada za državu možemo da kažemo da je velika? Kada ima mnogo drveća, kapi vode, ali sve je to ono što uzimamo od sveta. Možda bi veličina države trebalo da se meri onim što njeni građani daju svetu. I onda, ako se desi da je neko od vas svetu podario struju, da bez nekoga od vas ne bi postojao telefon, da je neko od vas otkrio najveće tajne naše planete, da među vama ima onih koji su žrtvovali mnogo da bi osvojili sve, onih koji iz malog mesta nespretnim korakom krenu u svet i postanu legende, i onih zbog kojih su legende iz sveta umetnosti dolazile kod vas, da je neko od vas pomogao svetu da razume život i smrt i večnost. Ako se sve to desi, mogli bismo da kažemo da je vaša zemlja zemlja ljudi i njihovih velikih snova. Neki snovi počnu u Srbiji i menjaju živote ljudi oko vas. Neki snovi promene Srbiju. Neki snovi iz Srbije promenili su čitav svet. Zbog svega toga, vi ste svet.
I think there were supposed to be 2 more, but that's all right. I think you've gotten the taste for it. I want to thank you all for your attention, wish you the best of a conference, and enjoy the challenges that are before you in the digital world. Thank you all very much for your attention.